Didn't count now.
You get to taste it in 2 weeks.
Thank you all for coming. This is the Village of Gloverville, 115 South Main Street. It's a regular council meeting, starts at 6 o'clock. Roll call from Jessica Gooch, clerk treasurer, please.
Shelby absent, Schoenborn absent, Stanfield. Here. Walter.
Here,
Hitchcock.
Here. Everybody please stand, face back, for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We have a approval of agenda from the council members as presented.
make a motion for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Okay, roll call please.
Shelby absent, Stanfield.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes,
Hitchcock.
Yes, thank you. Now we have public hearing at 6:01 PM, open for mobile station billboard special use permit. We need to recommend to the council that we open that for public. So moved by Deborah, second by. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Open to the public comment on anything to do with the mobile station billboard special use permit. Yes,
My turn?
no, not related to them, just people that's got questions for you. You've got questions on the special use permit for the billboard. Okay. 6:02 PM, close public hearing for mobile station billboard. The council.
Make a motion to close for the public hearing for the whole station.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay. Now, I recommend the council, the public hearing shift zoning line of 345 West Grand River into boundary of 117 Elm.
I'll make the motion.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. It's open to the public for any public comment on the shifting zoning line of 345 West Grand River into the boundary of 117.
That for.
Our neighbors at 117 Elm purchased the piece of vacant land right behind the old Sinclairs. And they're rolling it into one piece of property instead of two separate pieces of property.
So it'll be one piece of property.
It'll be one. No, residential. That open field that was next to them, used to have a house on it. House burned down. They filled it in, you can't build on it. They couldn't turn it into commercial for Sinclair's because it is rated residential.
Gotcha.
So my neighbors purchased it. And just want to roll that piece of property.
Just to make their look bigger.
It really wasn't big. Any more questions from the public? Seeing none, I recommend the council to close this public hearing for the zoning line.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All same sign. Close. Public hearing, Weberville Downtown Development Authority Plan Amendment 2024. Recommend the council to open that to the public.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All same side, open to the public on any comments to the public hearing of the Weberville Downtown Development Authority Plan Amendment 2024. Any questions? Make note, there's only one person from the resident here to make comments on that. So I apologize, I didn't put the time on there. So we opened it at 6:05, we're gonna close it at 6:05 PM.
I'll make a motion to close.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, closed. Any public comment on anything else? Anything else that we don't have going on? Anything else? Good. All right. So do I have a recommendation from the council to accept the consent agenda as presented, which would be the minutes of the council, accounts payable, investment report, revenue and expenditure, and the balance sheet. Anybody got any questions on it? If not, we have a recommendation to approve.
I'll make a recommendation to approve the consent agenda as presented.
More discussion on it? If not, roll call.
Shelby Schuler, absent Stanfield,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Hitchcock.
Yes, thank you. Police report. Anybody got any questions on police report? Please, officer here, might come in later, we can talk to him later. Let's go right to DPW report. Ryan Jones. Man,
Lagoon maintenance, I had to apply for the permit through Eagle, to have the floating weeds on the lagoon sprayed. So that was approved. I got 3 quotes that are gonna be in new business. Be approved. On approval, the spraying will take place next week. This is a compliance issue. Technically, right now, we are out of compliance because the water is too much with weeds. It's kind of a problem. So we got the ball rolling on that. Takes 45 days just to get the permit approved. So that's why it's taking so long. Mistakes, I know it's very frustrating for residents. Please don't remove flags out of your yard. There are multiple companies in town right now doing work. Can't differentiate between who's doing what, so please leave the flags. Compliance sampling, once again, drinking water is all clean. Our bucket truck came back, it is in compliance. Actually, just today, I completed my online training to be considered a competent individual that can train our employees. So I'm hoping Friday afternoon, I can have the rest of the employees sit around my computer at the office. We'll go through their online training. Then we do a little hands-on session on the truck. That way we are covered there. Brush letters, we're trying to send them out. We're asking residents not to put brush out before weekend of when it's supposed to be out. Just looks horrible. Creates safety issues in town. If brush is out on the sidewalk, if we get high winds, blows out into the road. So we are sending out letters. I've received some feedback on it, positive and negative, but it is what it is at this point. Lead and copper work, potholing begins the week of August 6th. We sent out letters to all 100 addresses of people that are going to be checked. I've received quite a few phone calls. People are pretty excited about the fact that we are doing this and they're going to know more about their water. Our water distribution system is in pretty rough shape right now. We've been working on the fire hydrant at the corner of Elm and Grand River. There is some stuff in new business that we have to discuss. This is emergency situation that we're in right now. So right now, Mitchell Grohl and I have been going through blueprints, maps, have been out in the field working, finding valves, trying to turn valves. Just because it's a lot easier to do it in a controlled situation as opposed to when there's a water main break at 3 o'clock in the morning. Other than that, that's all I got for the DPW.
question from council? Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
Who's gonna come around with pictures?
It'll either be myself or Mitchell
Any idea when that's gonna be?
after we start. If nobody's home when they show up to do the potholing, then we'll kind of make note of that. And I'll probably do it just like I did with the water meters where I'll call. Schedule during the day, great. If I gotta come at 7 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock, somebody needs to work, then that's what I'll do.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Treasury report, Jessica.
Don't know what they are, so they don't really, the online via May, we're getting more coming in that way. Property taxes, that'll kind of save that on the report. Taxes have been sent out, payments are coming in, filled out the elevator paperwork, get a phone in there, waiting to hear from them. Audit, we have already began audit, and they are coming through, and so far, they've been doing well. And then obviously, Jim walked in, painting car.
I like the color.
Really brightened it up.
Yeah, it's nice. Questions for Jessica Gooch from the council? Seeing none? What about downtown? Mr. Josh.
Other than, so trying to figure out the parking lot, looks like it's gonna be a stalemate until we figure out the drain situation there. The Ford building, we are, I meet, with the, GC, which is Carbon, who did the roof structure stuff, and, Lindau Architects on Friday, or Thursday, to go basically the feasibility schedule and how much it's gonna cost and what the game plan timeline would be to start construction and get that whole stuff. So, yeah.
Exciting. Council have anything for our President Josh Rock, EDA? Seeing none? Building zoning report, we get a chance to look at Mr. Mike's report. Denise report, she is enjoying a beautiful vacation. Scott Rule.
Thank you. Let's see here, the list of items that we've been kind of watching over, beginning with the Civil Rights Department, FOIA, alleged FOIA violation. Still have no update as to that matter. I've reached out to the original office where the file was originally held in Detroit. Left voicemail there. Called the other office, which is located in Grand Rapids, left voicemail there. Still waiting to hear if there's any resolution to this matter. White Rose, still waiting on the opinion from Judge Stokes. This is the White Rose outdoor storage and everything that goes along with that original file that started back in 2022. So we're just waiting for the opinion on that. As Jessica mentioned earlier, personal property taxes, the village was looking to strike the personal property taxes from the rolls as uncollectible. I do have an order that is ready to go that I'll give to Jessica that she can sign and send off to Ingham County Circuit Court, hopefully for the judges to sign, and they'll conclude that matter, personal property tax. Kind of switching back to building and zoning, I've been working with Jim Wright. This last week, we sent out a reminder, final notice of cease and desist for occupancy for White Rose at the 4696 Grand River Avenue. This is only the portion of the property that has a building in which White Rose is. Dusty's is okay, and I believe there may be another business in another building, and that's okay. It's just White Rose itself at the moment. This stems from original order from the 55th District Court, May of last year. White Roses, they have, I believe, 7 more days to comply with our demand. Otherwise, this village through Jim Wright and the Sheriff's Department may evict White Rose out of that building. The Grand River address. So stay tuned on that matter. Again, voicemail to Agent Kennedy concerning Eagle. Kind of surprised the last time I left the voicemail, he was pretty quick to give me a call back. Didn't hear from him, and that was back in June. I left another voicemail today asking for a call back, and so hopefully I have something to report by the next council meeting, but that's
On that,
okay.
I forgot to put it in my report. Monday, I reached out to Laura Matthews, per Caitlin's request,
Okay.
because the auditors and, we want to try to close the books on last fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
So we were curious about where we might stand for any, financial responsibilities the village may be incurring.
Okay.
She reached out to me within an hour, just reminding me that it is an escalated, enforcement process.
Mm-hmm.
So there's multiple agencies, multiple offices engaged in this. So there is no update right now with concerns from Eagle regarding punishment or possible punishment, I should say, for the village. So I did hear from her on Monday.
All right. Yeah.
And it's still possible, but no quite.
Possible. Yeah. Just because it's in that escalated enforcement right now, which is, I mean, the worst of the worst. So that's where it stands.
I have not reached out to Miss Matthews, correct? Is that her last name?
Yeah.
I haven't reached out to her. I've been trying to track down Kennedy, being that he's with the DNR arm of this. I think a lot, even for Eagle, a lot of their decision making is going to be based on what the DNR sees of this matter. So, not to discount what Matthews said or anything like that, but that's the reason I've been pursuing Kennedy. Kind of surprised he didn't come.
Village of Waterville and myself, people that have working for the DPW, we immediately responded. as soon as we knew. You were there also. We immediately took care of the problem as fast as we could.
Most certainly, and I think that bolsters our position without a doubt. And part of the investigation may go beyond the village itself and may look at anyone that was personally licensed to work on that facility. So the delay may not be a problem for the village per se. It may look beyond the village and maybe look to some agents, but that's down the road apparently. So.
It would be nice to keep going forward without having it where you're just waiting.
Yeah, and I hate to be a cynic. I hope it's not one of these things where they just kind of hang it over your head in hopes that, to try and make sure we don't forget to stay in compliance. But again, the village, as far as I was concerned, this may be more of a license issue than a village issue. So,
Okay.
I'm expecting a visit probably the end of, well, not the end of July, but sometime in August, because they did hire my new district engineer.
oh, okay.
So they will be bringing him around. I was informed by another engineer when I was working with the weed control permit. So I had a question on the permit, so I reached out to another engineer, and he did inform me that they did hire a guy, but he says, I'll give you 2 or 3 days notice coming out to introduce him and let him look around all of the villages and communities that he's overseeing, not just, they're not singling us out. He's just gonna be out in his district, meeting everybody that he's responsible for. So I'm
When you
anticipating.
get that information, let me know.
Yep, so I'm kind of hoping maybe after his visit and they see the condition of our facility, that it's gonna kind of, kind of speed everything up. So,
Yeah, the one thing I'd stress to him is, hey, when we became aware of it, we acted immediately. I mean, there was no delay. In fact, work was being performed on a Saturday, which is off normal working hours. Not that it inconvenienced me, I'm just saying that that's how urgent we addressed
we
it.
addressed it immediately, so, but yeah, I'm anticipating action once they come out and visit the site, just because I haven't had a visit all year
Yeah,
to even see if, hey, did this dude do what he said he was gonna do,
true enough.
So.
Right? So as soon as I hear word, I'll report to you as well, but that concludes my report.
Okay, sounds good. Engineer reports, is there something you want to do or you want to wait until we get into the?
I have a couple items that aren't related to Black Oak. We'll talk about later. We're having a pre-construction meeting for the business park paving project, on Thursday. And we'll include, if we pass the resolution later, then we'll actually knock that one out at the same time, gain a little efficiency. Reeve Riley is planning on beginning work around the middle of August, 14th, 15th. And that's about it with respect to the business park. And then one other issue's come up with, out at Apple Lane, where we did the water main and road project last year. There's a 125 Beach Street. There's a bit of a wet in front of their yard. It's sort of there's not really a ditch there, but it's out near the road. And what we want to do is extend a 8-inch plastic pipe underneath their driveway and put in a plastic catch basin in that area to get that drained out of there. And Jason Sebastian's aware of it, and he's working up a price for a plan to put together to do that.
Okay. Everybody understand what he's talking about?
What's that?
Is the council or everybody understand what he's talking about?
on that, we've received, all this year, we've received multiple calls from the residents on that street about drainage. That's kind of what got the ball rolling.
Sure.
So just so everybody's aware that, you know, yeah,
Drainage.
it's a flat area. There's no slope anywhere. There's nowhere for the water to go. So working with DEA group, the field tech Eric, you know, so we have a game plan. We're just waiting on Sebastian to give us some price on it, just so we know.
Alright. Good? Alright, advocate. I see you. Letter.
I do. I just thought it was important to thank everyone for taking the time to bid on the carpet and or the paint at the village office, and to say that we appreciated the time and effort that the businesses put into providing us with their bids, and that we look forward to the possibility of working with them in the future.
Appreciate it. Okay, anything else for reports from the council or Scott Gold or? None? New business. Local station, billboard, special use permit, you want that?
Sure, how about I introduce the case and then we can hear from the applicant.
Sure.
Go through the criteria before a vote.
Yep.
Obviously, this proposal was before the council a couple of months ago. Our original recommendation as to process from McKenna was this required a sign waiver. Following the discussion of the May 14th meeting, the council requested we'll look into the approval requirements to determine that a special use approval is required. There are two different portions of the ordinance. They see two different things. We're taking the stricter of the two, which is the special use. Because special use is the required process here, there is no sign waiver required, so once it's approved, the dimensions of the sign are sort of up for negotiation, and can be as big as potentially appropriate. I do want to point out that, well, a couple things. One is MDOT approval is also required for billboards, or as our ordinance calls them, advertising structures. We do have a letter from MDOT that approves a location, although it's not entirely clear from to me from this letter what location specifically is being approved here. It's clearly somewhere in Weberville, but it's got a couple of numbers on it, 4388, 4492. I don't know if those are the application number, if that's supposed to be an address. It's not an address, you know, Weberville. So I'm just not sure if that's approving on this site or in this specific location. So I'm looking for some feedback from the applicant on exactly what is approved by MDOT here. But there is an MDOT approval. Second, the parcel in question is actually two parcels. The mobile gas station and its associated parcel to the east where the truck wash has been approved are separate parcels, and the owner is intending to keep them as separate parcels. In conjunction with the truck wash approval, they're going to grant themselves an easement across the front parcel, which is parcel 32, back to parcel 33, the back parcel, which means those two parcels will continue to be separate. And I think that's going to be something we should talk about as to the impact on the billboard itself. And the final thing that I remind you of as we move into this discussion is that there are two votes on this, one for special use and then one for site plan, because every special use requires a site plan approval. As you can see in our site plan letter, it's a different situation than most site plans because it's a billboard. It's not an active use, but there are some site plan considerations as you can find in our letter. So we'll get into the specifics of our letters after we hear from the applicant.
Okay. Yeah, the council need to hear any more from the billboard? Anybody else want to hear any more? I recommend to the council that we approve the mobile station billboard special use permit for the super recommendation in McKenna.
Hang on, Brad. There's something important in our recommendation here. I mentioned that there's two parcels. Our recommendation is to approve the billboard on parcel 33.
So recommendation.
What that would be is, that would push it away from M52 and towards the off-ramp and highway.
You were able to speak, if this isn't where it's supposed to be, what area do you think your sign's gonna be?
Identified.
What part?
I don't know the first.
Well, what I wanna do is recommend the special use permit, we gotta figure out what area that's gonna be on.
Yeah, so we do have the plan that shows exactly where the billboard is proposed. Our recommendation is to not approve it in that location, but to approve it on the eastern parcel where it could go over by the highway.
You're more than welcome to come up and look at that paper, what he's talking about, so we can. Not work.
So this lot line is not going away. It's still there. And my thought is, there's a lot of concerns, and we can discuss them tonight, obviously, about this location. And the council could approve you to go anywhere on this lot. I don't know if that's compromising the work, but that's what I want to see.
Yeah, it can't, because you won't satisfy the intent. It's very specific requirements of how close the billboard can get on there.
But they let it go right there.
Yeah.
So you're,
That's their call, I guess, but I find it odd that they were thinking about the on-ramp, but it can go 15 feet from M52.
Yeah, I would tell you, Chris, I've lost so many battles over the last 2 years with on-ramps and off-ramps.
yeah, I believe you that, it's Mr. Miller, right?
English.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what, I wanna get the special use permit, what spot would that sign be at? What
that sign would be
address?
the sign would be on the parking, I call it the parking area, just to the north of the convenience store. There's,
I believe you, yeah, exactly, so what address would that be? It'd just be.
That would be on parcel 32.
So parcel 32, the council, I'm recommending to allow Mr. English, right? So basically, when you pull up the party store, it's at north little corner right there, where the grass is green.
Yeah, yeah.
Right there, you can put his sign,
Why not?
32, and I recommend the council that we have a special use permit on that.
If you're interested, I have it circled in blue on here where it's proposed, in case anyone wants to see it.
You sure you'll bring it in? I'm making the recommendation, so it's gotta be so moved.
So-
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Right, yep, and then section,
Yes.
And that is obviously the parcel number is longer than that, but the end of it is 32.
32.
The one with the lease is identical except it's 33, that's why I'm referring to it that way.
Okay, so everybody understands, it's partial 32, and I'm putting on here north of the convenience store.
And this MDOT approval is for that exact location?
I believe so, but I can't say.
And not just saying, well, as long as we say it's okay, they're saying it's okay too, and they say it's by the M52.
Yeah.
Okay, so, any more discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Shelby, Schoenberg, Danfield,
Yes.
Walter,
Yeah.
Hitchcock.
Yes. Now we have the recommendation. Right,
The only thing we need on the site plan is, we would like a photometric plan to confirm that the brightness, complies with the lighting requirements.
and I think he mentioned to us that it can dim down or.
Yeah. And that's I love that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it automatically did. And, as I told the St. John's, zoning board, last month, the evening brightness is like 10% of the brightness during the day. So it will automatically dim significantly. It's just right.
Okay. So what's the next thing for the gentleman to continually sign?
For you guys to approve the site plan, and like I said, our only condition on that would be like to see a photometric plan.
Are you okay with that?
Would be what, sorry?
We'd like to see a photometric plan. It shows it'll show the brightness, so at maximum brightness of the sign, where are we seeing light cast? And understanding that during the daytime, it will dim itself, which is great, and it will automatically adjust to be as bright as it needs to be at night and visible. Also fantastic. I think that is a really nice technological advantage for these signs, and I'm glad that that's gonna happen. There's an ordinance requirement that illuminated signs meet the lighting requirement. So basically, you cannot throw light on another property. And so I just want to confirm that that's going to be the case. that this sign will, but that would be our only condition on a site plan.
So what are we trying to satisfy on this format?
I would say it's just have it so you would mention that the lights you're gonna use on the sign would actually have different brightnesses of different times of day.
I believe it's 153.083, I think it's C in the zoning ordinance is the lighting requirement. And basically, I think what I'd like to see is that automatic dim, right? When it's at the darkest it's gonna be outside, then that's the brightest the sign is going to be. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. When it's the brightest outside, that's the brightest the sign's gonna be, correct? It's going to speed with the sun.
Correct.
So if it wasn't a sign, if it was just a light stand that was throwing light like on the trucks, like a spotlight to light the trucks for safety reasons, it would be required by our ordinance that light not trespass over a property. Now, that's different than you can see it. Like being able to see it is fine. Is it illuminating something on McDonald's property?
They got that right away to how.
Yeah.
Sometimes the brightness gets over. the brightness.
Yeah. So basically your ordinance says you can't illuminate the next property. So we need is the photometric plan that will tell us in no uncertain terms that at the property line, you are not being illuminated by the sign.
So which property line is it?
The McDonald's property line is the one I'm worried about, it's the closest one to you. I think there might be a,
Actually, there's vacant land in between.
yeah, I was gonna say, there actually might be a strip of land owned by High Profile in between, either way, the northern properties.
So does it matter if it goes on the vacant land?
Per your ordinance, it's any property. Per your ordinance, it's any property.
Oh, yeah.
It has to get down to zero. And again, yeah, no, I kind of see the face, I see your face. Obviously, the sign's gonna be visible. It's not about, is it lit up so I can see it? It's, am I bathed in the light from the sign? Right? Like, if I look and see that light, I can see it's on. But I'm also bathed in its light, right? Because it's illuminating the entire room. There's a light out there, that light fixture in the hallway is off right now. If it was on, we'd all be able to see it, but it wouldn't be lighting us up. It would be lighting up that. That's what I need to know in a photometric plan from a lighting, any lighting consultant, anyone who installs light fixtures should be able to create one of these. Frankly, your sign company should be able to pull it off. Your vendor. We just need it and we'll sign off on this, no problem. That, again, the other thing though is you guys don't have to accept a recommendation for that. Could just prove it if you're not comfortable. But that's the one thing
Before
we
we
found.
do anything, I'll let you, Mr. English, go ahead and like,
Yeah, I can't speak to that. It's getting way too technical. I would say that I've never been presented with that. Out of all the township and the village, zoning board of appeals and councils, I've never heard this before. So if that's what your ordinance says and the approval is conditioned upon that, I guess I have to meet it. If it's a recommendation, well, then it's just a recommendation. You don't have
the
to.
sign you're
No,
gonna
it's
do,
in the ordinance. It's
But
in
the
the ordinance,
sign
that
you're gonna
illuminated
do-
signs are treated like light fixtures for
the
this.
sign you're gonna do will dim, it's not gonna just be one brightness all the time.
Correct. It is
It'll be
going, it's going to dim, as the, I have the letter that they gave to Chris from
Yes.
Watchfire, the manufacturer, they say that in the evening, when it dims it, it's 10% of the maximum capacity during the day. So if you drive by at noon, it's gonna be 100%. When you drive by at midnight, it's gonna be 10% what it is at noon. I can't say whether or not it's gonna leak over into that vacant lot to the north. I don't know how far that is. I don't know if it's 100 feet or if it's 500.
You know how far it is. It's on your
But I
plan.
would say, Chris, that the letter of recommendation that you gave, I believe, to the council, to the council on May 9th or so, it didn't address this. That wasn't a contingency in that letter. You recommended approval. You recommended not approving the height of which I think I asked for 30 by mistake. And I said at that time, we'll find 25. But you recommended approval of the sign, but not of the height. This is new to me. It's the first I've heard, so I'm sorry that I came unprepared.
Well, when you go special use, then it kicks in site plan, which has a different set of standards, and that's where this is coming from.
And we weren't, Chris, we weren't talking about special use 2 months ago. You guys switched to special use when I was here the last time. You guys told me for 2 months, it's waiver. I get you ready to go for a waiver, and you're like, oh, it's a special use. I'm like, okay, let's do special use. And like, well, we gotta do 15-day public notice.
I just feel like I continue to get driven around in circles. I'm sorry, I can't address that. I will try to address it. I would hate that to be a contingency. And then I'm back here next month saying my lighting consultant said he can't.
I don't think anyone's talking about coming to the council. This would be a conditional approval. Absolutely.
Chris, look at me. I think the sign should be fine, and the new technology is good, that the sign will adjust. Now, in the amount of money that we spent, village board, we kind of line this all up. Does it have any contingent upon that, or is it just recommending to make sure the sign is right back of line?
The ordinance says illuminated signs should be treated like light fixtures. This is the rule for light fixtures.
I understand that, you're not going further. So can I recommend to the council to have you put up this sign with no exceptions other than what you have in the McKenna road in here, saying that it's not gonna, as long as it don't affect, it's got dimming things on it already, that it can be put through.
Yes, that's fine.
It's just got a dimming switch.
What's that, Lana?
Just like a dimming switch on.
Right, I would imagine, we'll just have to go,
Yeah,
I
it's-
mean, the new technology, the new signs have so many ways of controlling that. And one of the things that really steers me to this way is the amount of traffic that still gets messed up just because we're growing, that the signs saying to the truckers, I appreciate Mr. English, that we can turn around and have on there, please, remember drivers not to block 52 at this time of night, you know, finally, I mean, this could be a deal breaker. This could be a nice thing to have. To help awareness. He's buying the sign.
Sorry?
Who's paying
You
for?
want to know who's paying. You suggest.
Oh, yeah, so what I offered,
Nice.
I offered, I think, two meetings ago, I said, if there's an open slot, which
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're not.
Wait.
If there's an open slot, we'll put it up there. It'll be a public service.
Thank you.
Is that something we can get in writing?
No, you asked me that the last, I'm not giving it to you in writing.
I appreciate you offering to do that.
Thank you.
It's not.
I'm just saying it's never gonna happen. Never
You
see it.
don't know that.
Well, you're taking somebody's word. This is a business contract.
We keep going round and round and round about this. I mean,
It seems like you're willing to vote yes just to make it go away.
You know, I'm
no,
old school.
not at all.
I'm old school, so if somebody gives me their word, I tend to go and believe somebody on their word. That's how I.
Well, this is frankly, it's a council. We're here to do what's best by the taxpayers' dollars.
I am completely here for this coach. But when we're discussing something and somebody says, if I have an open spot,
That's a big if. He's even admitting it, that it's not a guarantee.
but we have nothing right now that is going on. So even if we get it up there twice, it's more than. We don't have that at all.
Sign's gonna be 20, 25 feet. It's gonna look nice, and it'll be available for, like you said, open spots and that, and it'll randomly just put on there. I don't see why you can't be part of the community and have it, where you have a sign up there. It's gonna show more people that. What's fine.
But how is it being part of the community if there's no guarantee that that's gonna happen?
Our village, our community is, we're supposed to be welcoming and opening to new businesses
Well,
that want to come.
I've seen enough. Scott Gould, do you see anything in here that looks lawyer wise?
I think we're,
I'm a business person, I'm going forward. I like it.
Should I have that plan back?
You can have your plan.
I just might have a solution.
You got a solution now? Thank you, Chris.
Because I'm looking at the watch fire information Mr. English submitted.
Say that again?
I'm looking at the specifications Mr. English submitted for that automatic dimmer. Which says that it will not illuminate more than 0.3 foot candles measured at night at a specified distance, which says 100 feet or more. Now, you're 151-ish feet from that northern property line. You're at 0.3 foot candles, somewhere at 100. We need them to get down to 0 by the property line. I would say if the council trusts, then that last 50 feet, that 0.3 is going down to 0. that, we can say that complies with that requirement. That's up to whether you trust it.
I've got enough. I'm just gonna make a recommendation at this point. So I got no here just tonight. Approve the site plan review, Mr. McKenna, recommendation for this billboard. The billboard is already presented to us with the dimmers for the lightest per Mr. I want to say English. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going up with the council that sign's gonna be something.
Is there, the size, do we,
You have your size.
200 square feet, 30 feet tall, that's what you propose.
could, I don't know, not gonna need to be 30. Keep it at 25. Could I ask to have the ability to make it 11 by 22 instead of 10 by 20? So we just put it in Elma. That picture is the one in Elma.
11 by 22 versus.
If not, we'll do 10 by 20.
Do you have a picture of 11 by 22?
Yeah.
It'll be 20 to 25 feet in the air.
Yeah, the maximum height will be 25 feet.
To the top of the sign.
Correct. To the top of the sign, yeah. So the first, I've only got 7 of these.
That's okay.
The first two pictures are the 11 by 22 that we just put up in. But again, if I ask for 10 by 20, if it's 10 by 20, then it's 10 by 20.
Only 42 more square feet.
And this is the 11 by 22.
The first two pictures are, yeah, with the sheriff advertisements, that's something. The reason I changed is because since I was here the last time, we put up the 11 by 22 and when I got there, it's not significantly larger than the 10 by 20.
As I have most time before, but I do want to have Scott go look at that and try Chris Corey to see if that
That doesn't violate any ordinance requirements.
So the recommendation would be to continue with the movement for McKenna's working with Mr. English and 11 by 22 sign. You're gonna have between 20 and 25 feet
Maximum overall.
on section 32.
What's the limit on the size according to your, MDOT?
The size, and I couldn't find anywhere.
MDOT just giving the recommendation that they're okay with it as long as the,
I didn't know if there was a size limit from MDOT.
That's a good question, because MDOT, the ordinance does talk about in counties with a certain population, you can't be larger than a certain square feet, and I believe I might be off by a small amount, but counties smaller than 450,000, you can't have a sign larger than 1,200 square feet. Which is significant.
all right, read back.
For the site plan for McKenna, for the billboard, 11 by 20, and then 25,
11 by 22.
22.
And you'll continue to work with McKenna's Associates and get that. And like I said, the visual part of it, I agree with wherever you buy the sign, that they got different. Like the signs itself. Sunlight, dark.
Yeah.
If it's a dark day out there, it'll say the different.
It will be dimmer than if it's a bright day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your driver behind needing the 11 by 22 over the 10 by 20?
It's no driver, it's more money, it costs us more money, so I would just like the ability with the permit with Chris to say, hey, we're gonna do analysis on 11 by 22, because it's gonna be more expensive for us, can we generate the revenue to make it profitable, or do we stay with the original 10 by 20? But the driving force is, as I said, since I was here the last time, we mounted the Alma sign, which was 11 by 22, and when I got there, I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's not a lot bigger. You know, my concern was 11 by 22 is gonna be this huge thing, but when you look at the 11 by 22 and 10 by 20, it's not that much bigger.
I would like the ability to go slightly bigger because we are off the road a reasonable distance. So if we can capture another 40 square feet or so because we're off the road at a reasonable distance, we would like the ability to do that based, again, if our performance say you can spend the extra, in that instance, it'd probably be an extra 40 grand for that size of the sign. Or no, let's just say 10 by 20 because the revenues can't justify it.
So I made a recommendation to the council, if somebody wants to so move, we can read it back again if you want to hear it.
So moved.
So moved by Lana. Second by Deborah. We can do more discussion. But that's on the floor. Will you read it one time?
For one site there would be Birmingham and billboard, or 11 by 22, 25.
And what I can see with this packet, it doesn't point at you on the dimming part of it, because I believe that the sign that you purchased, how that's made up, it's made for that, so don't find it.
I don't think you have the program.
Yes, that's what's great about it. It's got a solar panel on it, right? It just knows how bright it is. Very cool.
And I've seen them out there, I truck them, so I've seen them, and how they work. When they're on, there's one on the way into Carson City, and at night it's brighter, during the night, it's dimmer.
Yes.
Scott Gold, do you see any reason on this? We got discussion, we got so moved. Second. Discussion.
Just real quick, I was looking up the Highway Advertising Act of 1972, it talks about size, requirements and limitations. Counties having a population of 425,000 or more, signs of the size exceeding 1,200 square feet in the area, but not in excess of 6,500 square feet. So it looks like as long as we're 1,200 square feet below, I don't know the population of Hingham County.
It's under.
1,200 square feet, you could afford it.
Yeah. We're looking at
Yeah, you might see
240
maybe
square
that's,
feet.
New York, but you can't afford it.
Easy one. Yeah, this is well under that.
Okay.
Can you work with us, Chris Moore?
Yeah, in fact, given the motion you guys made, he's done with me. He's just gonna Jim get a building permit, electrical permit, whatever else Jim needs on that end, and he can build. So,
Any more discussion? You're not?
Shelby,
No.
Samuel,
Yes.
Yes.
Hitchcock.
Yes. Thank you. Take your time.
Thank you for everybody. Thank you, Scott and Chris. You guys both been very professional.
Thank you.
A lot combination. So, Bonnie, you got that? Put that together. Another person, there you go.
yeah, just quickly, because I think you guys understand this. Basically, the 107 Elm Road, which is now a vacant lot, previously there was a house on it, burned down.
Where?
That lot is being eliminated, that's the proposal anyway, so that the lot on the south will take about 3/4 of it, maybe, or so. And then the lot on the north, which is the restaurant, will take the other quarter of the lot. There are no, everything in this meets the zoning ordinance, right? Because you're actually making the lots bigger. So, and and the people involved understand that they are giving up the right to build a house. It's just the house has a bigger front yard, restaurant gets a bigger backyard, and that's it. So I think I would recommend approving this. We'll pass that on to the township and they get it done.
I recommend to the council that we go ahead with this recommendation from Ken and Associates on combining these pieces of property.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Shelby,
Yes.
Shelby, Samuel,
Yes.
Walter, Hitchcock.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for working on that, Chris. It will look a lot nicer, more brought up correctly, especially if that restaurant can get clients.
Yeah, so.
Oh, okay. So the next thing is shifting zoning line of 345 West Grand River into the boundary of 117.
Yeah,
Say that
so
again?
basically this is the same situation you guys just approved, the lot combination. But Now, the zoning map doesn't automatically change unless you vote to change that too. So as you can see on our report, basically the red lines are how the parcels are gonna lay out now, and you can see the blue and orange, how they don't line up with that. So what would happen without a change here is that the house, 117 Elm, part of its side yard would be zoned commercial. That's sort of weird, so it's not just sort of weird, it's potentially a serious problem. So our recommendation is to rezone that strip of land to R1B residential to match the rest of the parcel. It would have no impact on the restaurant to the north, which would retain its village for commercial mixed-use zoning. We'll just have a nice clean zoning map.
Basically, you're saying the driveway, that 117 is giving up and giving back to the restaurant. That's what we're rezoning.
That's actually, that actually is already zoned commercial and would just stay that way.
Correct.
So the restaurant would have, the restaurant's new lot, bigger lot would be 100% zoned commercial.
Right.
It's the house, its bigger lot is going to part is, once the combination is done, part residential, part commercial. And the recommendation is you rezone all of that, so it's all residential.
Correct.
So the zoning boundary and the lot line are the same thing,
Right.
which they have been, and then we move the lot line. So it's the
Gotcha.
zoning boundary too.
Gotcha.
So I recommend the council to put the shifting zoning line at 345 West Grand River into the boundary of 117 Elm, R-1B. So moved by Shan, by second by Ron. Roll call.
Schulte?
Yes.
Or Stanfield?
Yeah.
Walter?
Yes.
Hitchcock?
Yes.
Okay, McKenna will track the county's, county clerk's website, and when this is recorded, then we will go ahead and change the zoning map and get that over to Jessica for the office.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it. If you have any questions with the sign, following up with you and Jim Wright, please. give
Yeah,
me-
I think we're all set. I will communicate with Jim, so he's prepared for when Mr. English comes to him, but we are now into the construction process. So it's Jim's building permits, I believe building and electrical, is what he'll need, but he can build this. He will
And
now
we do
be-
have stuff to do, so if it shines like the sun, night and day, we can come back.
And we absolutely have that, in our ordinance, so, yeah. But also, I mean, he submitted his specs, so long as that the sign he actually builds,
Yep, there you go.
which Jim is gonna check on, it should be fine. Those are pretty nice, those automatic dimmers are pretty nice.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your time, Chris.
thanks, guys, have a good one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Chris. Thank you.
Have a good night.
So on the Waterville Downtown Development Authority Plan Amendment 2024, I recommend to approve the resolution as presented.
So moved.
We got a chance to look at it. It's the increasement by amendment for the EDA. Yeah, so move. Okay, Can we get a second? Resolution for EDA to keep on board. The money they're gonna spend on the board garage. It's also what they did to help take care of the town of Waterville, collaborate with the rooms. Page 7 of 7, but the summary on the back. Questions to the council. If I remember, and Josh could help me with this, if, we do this every year.
It just depends on when we have projects and stuff that we're spending money for. I mean, we went without having money for a long time, where I think there was like a 2018 to 2023 that we didn't do a single plan on. There's no money.
Are there concerns with it?
My only concern is on page 2 of 7, the 3.2, where it says, and I appreciate where it says you may forgive one or more.
Yeah.
What are the terms of you may forgive one or more? Because that's a huge chunk.
I think you're supposed to take his word for
We really like this sarcasm.
it. No, I'm
It's
serious.
very,
I mean, he's part of the DDA is part of the village, so.
Yeah, and that's basically, it was there because we have quite a few projects on the horizon that we're dealing with right now. So we don't know until it comes to that moment when we can say, okay, our books are looking good. We can, we can just forgive this year. Or if it's like, oh, we have a lot of money that just went out or something costing, that's the reason why we had to do it that way, unfortunately.
So if the village was just say, we had to pay out a lot in repairs or things like that, you would work with the village.
I can't technically say that because I'm governed by the RDA board.
Like you would go to the
So-
board.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, historically, over the last decade, the DDA has always working to help the village in any way we can.
Correct.
Obviously, that's why we are shouldering this in the first place, because you guys can't afford it. And so that's why we're doing it, but I had to put a mechanism in place so that we made sure that if we have budget issues that we have to finish, I don't wanna get in a project where, hey, we had the opportunity to say, for instance, finish this parking lot, but now we don't have any money coming in, like, to repair this, we can't, or something crazy happens. I mean, I don't foresee it. We're financially very stable, but I have to be able to, that's my responsibility for the DDA, is to make sure that we don't get into a bad situation that we can't get out.
I understand, you have things that you have to
Yeah.
pay and everything like that, just like we do.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started on DDA, I mean, again, we were $400,000 in debt. And I mean, there's people crying at our meetings because it was so depressing to like figure out what bills we could pay or which ones we could push off as far as we possibly could. So that's still a thought in the back of my head with everything we do, is to make sure that we don't overspend what we have and make sure we have a nice reserve. But right now, I don't see anything, but, and that's why originally it was supposed to be a straight loan, and it was me that actually put in there and recommended for us to do a loan forgiveness program if we're in the position to do that.
Okay,
Because I feel like it would just be a better thing.
It is, we should always work hand in hand
Yeah.
and look out for each other.
I mean, DDA is a subdivision of the village. I mean, we're all in this together to make Warrenville as great as it can be, so we have to be willing to work together.
Thank you for answering
Okay, so enough time for by, so we have number 4, Warrenville Downtown Development Authority Plan Amendment 2024.
You need me to do it.
I think enough time went by that we should redo it.
I make a
I think
motion
it's
to
like-
approve the WDDA plan amendment, 2024 as presented.
it. So moved.
No, second.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Second.
Because Scott, the discussion right now, I
Right. Second.
somebody, like, I recommend they so move, but when he recommended, I can't second.
You didn't recommend it?
No, he recommended to approve it. Could I second it?
Okay.
Could I?
Oh, could you?
He's,
He comes up.
Come on from saying, could I second the motion?
You could have.
Thought so, but
I'm sorry, I was thinking you put the recommendation out.
I didn't. So,
But now the discussion is only to any questions as to the motion itself. Topic is-
did he get a second? Maybe a more discussion he wants. Yeah. Roll call.
Shelby,
yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes. Yes. Thank you. We'll talk about that. Okay. Recommend. DD plan. Down
Five Michigan Teal.
I, Michigan team. Do I have anybody in the council, you there?
I just have one question regarding that. The tie sale, before September, then are we responsible to remove them?
Not
Or
leaving.
they, okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Make a motion to approve the Ty Michigan Teal volunteers as presented in their letter.
So moved. Second.
They done this like last week. It was long ago. Yeah, they do. I think there's a couple.
I don't remember it, but
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you for that. And then special, none, roll call, please.
Schulte,
Yes.
Stanfield,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Kittner.
Yes. All right. Resolution number 2024-15 at Black Oak paving to Big Riley Business Park contract. Kind of supersedes the question you had. Why we're part of the PDA. You accept that? So moved by Sam.
Second.
Second by Juan. Any more discussion? Anything from Bruce Wallace?
No, that's all I was waiting for. So we'll get a change order to his contract, and then I assume, Jessica can sign that on behalf of the village. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Schulte,
Yes.
Stanfield,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Kittner.
Yes. Blue weed control program.
I got 3 quotes. The company that did it last year,
I didn't mean to interrupt, but you were talking, I'm like, oh. Thank you, Bruce. Kelly, I said aye.
company we used last year, they came in high bid using a different, chemical, like all 2 other companies. They both are gonna use, or propose to use another chemical, with what they say is, far better results than the chemical that was used last year. So I applied for our permit through Eagle, it was approved, low bid came in from a company called Aqua Weed Control. I actually received their number from another wastewater lagoon operator, because they operate lagoons for communities. So that's who they recommended. So they came out, took a look, to treat all 4 of our ponds, our whole facility, it will be $4,000. Like I said, per my permit, I had to inform Eagle when the treatment would take place. So I told them next week, just because, I got 3 quotes, compliance issues, so we kind of got to get rolling on it. I have to do it far enough away from discharge season, which is in October. I can't discharge if I have chemical in the water. So the chemical that will be used actually dissipates after 5 days. I had to supply mathematical proof of the half-life of the chemical. Whole big process to Eagle. They approved it. They liked the numbers. So 3 bids are in the packet for your viewing pleasure.
I know we did this last year, but at this rate, is this something that we're looking at having to do annually?
No,
Or is the hope that eventually we can?
for too long, it wasn't treated, so it just kind of progressively got worse and worse. 2 years ago, the village received a letter of notice that the floating weeds were out of compliance, but it was too late in the year to do anything about it. So last year we treated, this year we're gonna use a different chemical that everybody says will eradicate it. Next year, I might only have to treat 1 pond,
Okay,
so it's something that if we stay on top of it, it won't be like this.
gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. So what are the council members want to recommend on,
I recommend we approve the aqua weed control bid not to exceed $4,000.
Second.
any discussion? Seeing none? Roll call.
Schulte,
Yes.
Stanfield,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Yep, I already signed the contract and sent it to them, so.
Now, there's a quote from water.
Well, our water system is aging rapidly, with minimal preventative maintenance done over the years. So we dug into that, fire hydrant at the corner of Elm and Grand River. We've made some discoveries that aren't on any blueprints. We don't know exactly what's there. But as it stands right now, we are unable to shut off water flow to the southwest corner of town. We have a 12-inch water main that runs from the fire hydrant, or from the water tower, comes down Grand River, goes down Elm, down Chestnut, and ends where the old tower used to be. As it stands right now, we can't shut it off. We found a 12-inch valve at the corner of Howard and Chestnut. 12-inch valve, I should be able to turn it 39 times to shut water down. We got 8 turns out of that valve. So now we're probably going to work tomorrow. We're going to start coming down towards Main Street to find another 12-inch valve. But these valve insertions have to take place at the corner of Elm and Grand River, where the 12-inch and the existing 6-inch line are joined together. We cannot isolate the two of them. There's 2 valves there that neither one of them work. Yesterday, I rebuilt a valve at the corner of Elm and Chestnut. We operated that today. I think I got water stopped at that valve, but with the 2 valves at the corner of Elm and Grand River, I cannot isolate this water main. If we were to have a water main break in the southwest corner of town, if we could shut it down, I do believe our water tower would be drained and the whole village would be facing a boil water because I can't shut it down.
What do you consider the southwest part of town?
Main,
Elm and West?
Main Street west to the water, including the industrial park.
Okay, so even the core downtown.
Yep.
So you're telling
Yes.
me there's no 12-inch underground off from that?
Mitchell and I found one in front of Dollar General. We operated that yesterday. We were able to get 39 turns out of that one. So we would not have to go all the way to the water tower. At the corner of Elm and Grand River, they kind of did a unique joining of separate water mains. There's 3 water mains that all come together on that curve, on that corner. And I can't isolate them from each other. So right now, what I did, we dug up the fire hydrant, discovered all the bolts are rusted on it. Yes, sir.
Just because I'm trying to catch up with you. When that went bad, I don't think you were quite here yet. We had excavators at Stevens, and we talked with them. There's a shut off on the west side of the tower.
Yep.
Does that still work?
Yep, that works. Yep, that does work.
Trying to do the Stevens side. I've been here 11 years and trying to.
Yep.
They shut off there, they shut off the tower. There were the only 2. And at one time, we had a breakdown by the fire.
Yep.
And there was somehow, we were able to slow it down, but we weren't able
They
to
slowed
slow it all the way because of the corner that's messed up.
Exactly.
So that's my take.
So after that break that you just discussed, were they able to slow it down but not shut it down?
That's correct.
We have since broke 2 more valves pertaining to water main breaks on the north side of town. So we have to cross over Grand River, and we broke a valve at the corner of Summit and Grand River. That was last year. And then at the corner of, my streets in the head here, Howard and Grand River, another valve was broken. It just spins. The valve does not move. So now moving down into, getting all the way down onto, what's your street again? Walnut. We're going all the way down to Walnut Street. And our fear is that if we start turning these valves, they're gonna do the same thing with breakdowns.
We should get a couple new ones before we start.
So in order to put valves in, I have to be able to stop the water flow, and that's what these valves would help me do. I'm gonna have to have one more inserted on Summit Street at some point. But I'm gonna do 1 valve. That's our plan, is to do 1 valve. I drill the hole in our water main, we can valve what we call a cork stop. If I drilled it, I cork stop in the water main right now. So if we install one valve, open that up, if my water flow is stopped, I'm only gonna have to do one valve. But the way it's hooked up, it's confusing without actually seeing it. The way they hooked it up, I may have to do two valves. I won't know though until I install the first one. So water tap, company out of Wixom, they're about the only contractor around that does this sort of work where they live tap the main. It's not shut down, it's inserted with water pressure in the main.
I've seen do that also, pretty neat.
Yep, right now we've been doing a huge project, city of Ann Arbor. So I talked to him, my contact there, I actually did a tap with them in my previous community. So when I called him, we chatted about that. But he said that if it's approved tonight, since it's an emergency situation, because the fire hydrant, I cut the bolts on that, look just like the bolts do on that plant in the industrial. So that's why I cut the hydrant right off the valve to try to relieve pressure, because I don't want that to break. So, like I said,
But you can shut off the valve short. You can shut off on the other side of it. We can isolate the water tower.
I can isolate water.
The water tower, we know there's a problem, we can stop it.
I can stop that.
Pull from anything.
Yep. So the main thing is like I said, if I have a break in this corner right now, because I can't take this 6-inch away from the 12-inch because we don't have valves that work. Everything is breaking on us.
Yes.
So I've kind of prioritized it. If I do this, one, I'll be able to control water flow, and two, the new hydrant will be able to be installed as well. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. So
So the quote here, 6360 each, is that just for the valves, or is that installed too?
install two.
Okay, so you're quoting for two, at the worst case scenario.
Hoping to do one.
Will we be reimbursed if we don't use the second one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we would not be billed until the work is completed. So, yeah. That's why I have to break it down like that. Each, because I explained, there's possibility I can install one valve and it'll isolate what I need, since I rebuilt the valve yesterday morning down by Deb's house. But I won't know that until I get one valve installed.
Right.
So,
Makes sense. I make a motion to approve the water tap work order not to exceed $12,720.
Second.
Okay, recommended by Sam, second by Lana. Any discussion? 12,720 not to exceed. Discussion again, when we mentioned this to him, Ryan, what you said, when did they keep him up?
he thought if I contact him first thing this morning, or tomorrow morning,
Yes.
they would be here by the end of the week.
This week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the whole partially excavated right now. I have it covered with plywood and barricades. We would finish doing the excavating ourselves. I don't have to pay anybody to do that. So, I mean, once I tell them the word go tomorrow morning, as long as you guys vote yes on this, hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have these valves installed. Each valve takes about an hour to install. It's kind of a neat process.
It is. I can't see it. Cool. All right. No more discussion. Roll call, please.
Schulman,
Yes.
Stanfield,
Yes.
Walter. Yes. Hitchcock.
Yes. All right. Any other questions or anything else we got on our council meetings this evening that we got to talk about? Go on you, sir. Okay. Cool. Seems like you're still getting psyched up on some of the programs. It's still dormant. Why does anybody want to use? Oh, oh, oh. Oh. And you don't have to answer either. That's something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned, I'm getting more concerned about the White Rose matter. It wasn't a 30-day promise that an opinion was gonna be rendered, and we're now, that was April 20, I want to say it's right around tax, and it was like April 20th or something. I don't know about that one. It's hard to push the court. It's at the judge's pleasure, so.
But they wouldn't. They said a day, they wanted to
Yeah.
finish.
It leaves us in a lurch. I think there's just a lot of unknowns at the moment. And as I mentioned again, sent a subsequent letter involving White Rose. We have things like this hanging out in the courts, compounds subsequent code enforcement action. It just muddies the water. Just makes it difficult, that's all.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, seeing that, council. Pretty good.
To adjourn.
Second.
Second by Lana. Motion by Opie, 7:16 PM. Thank you all for coming. We are adjourned. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Adjourned. Thank you.